Brendan, can we start with a squad update ahead of the weekend? How's your squad looking, injuries and whatnot?
We'll get a few knocks, so obviously Jota will be out, and sadly for us and for him, he'll be out for a period of time, probably 6 to 9 months. Obviously it's the cruciate, and it was worse than sort of we'd hoped really. So so he starts on his journey of recovery from that now, but yes, could somewhere between 6 and 9 months it'll be. Ali Johnson won't be available. Ali's been needing a sort of injection into his hip that he's had for a period of time, and to ensure he was ready for the cup final and enough preparation, we decided that we would do that after the Dundee United game. So that puts him out of the game at the weekend and most probably the St Mirren game. And then that gives him a few weeks then to be ready for and available for the cup final. Dean Murray, Dean had a sort of an issue with his knee, and he'll be out for the rest of the season and then be ready for pre-season. And who else? We got Yang is back. Yang is back training with the squad, so we'll give him one more day tomorrow, and then we'll see if he's going to be available for the squad.
Yeah, Dyson and Nicholas, didn't see them at training this morning, but are they okay for?
Yes, yeah. Dyson should be fine, and Nicholas was out. We're just assessing him, and slight issue with his knee, but he should be okay. We had the scan on that; it's just a little bit of bruising, but should be okay.
And on the game itself, obviously the final one of the season. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is a game that is all about pride, and we, as I said, we've proved our point over the course of this season, in terms of our performance level, consistency. I think the challenge in these games is that we've been so comfortable going into the games, and I felt that has really disrupted our mindset. When it was win or bust in the cup final, we win it, because that's it. These games we've been so comfortable, and even though you're pushing, I know what these games mean to supporters and what it means to myself and the club. There just can be that little bit in the back of the mind that you're 13 points clear or 16 points clear, and so that is taking a fraction of an edge off that you don't want, but there's maybe a subconscious thing there. But this is our last game. We are fighting for the pride of our team and also for our supporters, because we lost the last game at Ibrox, deservingly so. We shouldn't have lost the game at home, but we did, and we have to make that right in the last game.
Brendan, what have you done differently this week, if anything, to almost change that from your players? You've been so good all season, but as you say, just been a bit comfortable going into these games. Have you changed the message then to your players this week, or is it something you think that they know themselves that they have to win this one?
No, you have to know that. I hear the talk up here about meaningless games. There's never that. A Celtic Rangers game, there's never a meaningless game, or there's nothing in the game. There's everything in this game. Everything. So we have to go and prove that on the field. Yes, we are champions, with the best team, the most consistent team, with the mentality, Champions League progression, all of this here. But these are important games, and so the messaging. No, it's our preparation's been really good. We had our little hiccup against St Johnstone. From that, you see the reaction. The players have been brilliant, and I always think now at this stage of the season, we've set targets, we've set goals for the last 5 games and the cup final. But we're also preparing for next season. We're trying to look to finish strong so we can prepare for that as well.
What have you made of Rangers, or more, what do you expect from Rangers this weekend? Because since Barry Ferguson's come in, they've been up and down with their results. So what do you expect on Sunday?
No, listen, I think it's been a difficult one for Barry to come into. I think what Barry has done is Barry's helped connect the supporters and the club. You know, he's a player who had a great career there. The challenge for Barry and his staff probably coming in is that it's a different generation of player that you're working with, and to when they would have played and even coached a number of years back. So the generation of player now is totally different, and obviously they'll demand a greater standard and a greater consistency. So yeah, I said before that was you would look at it over a period of time, and you know you would say that it's probably pretty much the same. So, you know, some really good European performances, a wee bit up and down in the league, but I think the difference being that at least the Rangers supporters, they can connect with Barry, and when he's saying it and speaking it, and I thought he spoke really well and very honest in his appraisal of his team, then the fans can at least connect with that as sort of one of their own, really. So yeah, so that's where they're at. I think we've seen they've played well in games, and then, like I say, other games that they'll have wanted to have done better in. But for us, really, we have to go and perform in this game.
I know there's been a lot of talk around a potential takeover at Rangers. You yourselves, so many points clear, you've already wrapped up the league, on for a treble. But next season going forwards, do you expect more of a challenge from Rangers next campaign?
Talk to me in the summer on that. We're not even finished this season yet, you know. I know there's not a lot for you to write about or talk about or speak about, but speak about this season first. Speak about how good Celtic have been and how consistent we've been and how our mentality's been really good and how this group of players, despite some knockbacks, they keep going and they keep fighting and they keep running and they keep working, and we can speak about next season then.
How impressed have you been with the team? There's maybe a knockback where it goes to penalties in December, maybe they lose to St Johnstone, you see that response over the last 3 games, score 15 goals, concede 1 freak goal, just that response for the team when you send that message of what you're wanting.
Yeah, listen, everyone needs it. It just, no matter how good a team you are or how good a player you are, every now and then you just need the reminder of the standard, and certainly the standard here at Celtic, you know, that fell away below the required level when we were at St Johnstone. And again, the thing that grated on me was we had the chance to win it at home if we'd do our job in that. So that was also, that doubled the frustration. However, players have been brilliant since then, and sometimes, and that's the job, that's managing. Managing is the ability to teach players, inspire them, and motivate them. And then you see, obviously, the players when they go onto the pitch, they've been so good. So a great win last weekend. Played very, very well, and now we've had a good week's training, and we now come into this game that we're looking forward to playing in. But the response of the players has been excellent.
When you look at Calum, McGregor and James Forrester, both history makers like yourself, how important are those players going to be on Sunday at Ibrox, with Forrest being Celtic's most decorated player now?
Yeah, I think that in particular the guys that have been through it, and especially the Scottish boys, having players from your national country means everything in these games for me, because they understand what it's all about. They've grown up with it. They've been through it. So they'll know the importance of it. And like you say, those 2 players have been in numerous games and scored and performed at the highest level. So they know what it takes to play in this type of game.
When you look at the previous games in Celtic dominating possession, maybe a wee second goes against you and you can see the goal, how important is it just to stop those little small errors when you're dominating possession in a game and just keeping the ball?
Yeah, I think for us it's the start of the game. You know, we need to start the game in the way that we would want to. Like you say, our last game at Celtic Park, we didn't start the game well. We got done very early on with a corner, so that gave Rangers something to hang on to, and then we switched off at a throw-in, and very quickly you're 2-0 down. The response in that game was very, very good. We come back, and in the whole second half it looked like we're the only team that was going to win it, and then we make an unfortunate slip and a mistake, and they finished really well. So, but these games, there are errors in them and there are mistakes in them. What you know is 100% you can't be perfect in them. But we also know that we've won there before, and won there a number of times. So we know our game and what our game looks like. But always in these games, you want to be at your very best in order to win and play well.
Is that something you've looked at, the set pieces in the last 2 games against Rangers? Because you conceded 2 corners, and you mentioned the throw-in. Is that maybe something you've looked at over the last week?
Yeah, I think it's something that we continually do. It's not just something that we'll look at specifically for Rangers. You know, we take pride in every element of our game, offensive, defensive, and from all those static positions. The corner in the game at Ibrox we get done on the second phase of that. The one at Celtic Park we get done on the first phase. So it's just again, it goes back to the level of concentration, being alert, being alive and switched on, and normally those set piece moments, those are the times when you can really be focused because the ball is static. So you can get in position early, get organised, get concentrated, and deal with the situation better.
Brendan, can I ask how Jota is? I know you said he's out for so long, but will this be when he'll sort of feel how much this club kind of supports its injured players, and he's usually such an upbeat guy as well?
He is, and to be fair, he's very philosophical in his life, and I had a long chat with him, and obviously looking at the plan, what the plan will be for him going forward in the different phases of what it'll look like. So he knows he's going to get all the support. He's had a difficult probably couple of years really when you think of how these move. Went to Saudi, didn't quite work out. He's come back to here. He's loving being back, but he still knew you need to get to fitness, his level of fitness. And that was to try and get through this season in the best he could and then have a really strong pre-season. So sadly that sort of interrupted that side of it. But I have to say he is a very positive young guy, and I'm pretty sure he'll come back from this here a stronger person and player.
Brendan, it looks like Adam might be leading the line this weekend against Rangers. I remember you spoke a couple of months ago about wanting your striker to play the space rather than you don't need your striker to get 30-40 goals every season. You need to play that sort of tactical role. And it looks like Adam's playing that role quite well. We're scoring a lot of goals with him leading the line, but him not necessarily scoring an awful lot of goals, even though he's weighed in. I just wonder if you could speak tactically about the choice you've got between Dyson leading the line and Adam and what they both bring.
Yeah, I think in terms of Adam, in all fairness, I think if you take away, I think there's a lot of look on his price tag, isn't there? So everyone's judging on the price tag. If you actually take away the minutes and look at the minutes he's played and the goals he scored, his actual ratio is very good. You know, so what do you get in both? So from a tactical level, you get him who can be the platform. Listen, I say strikers playing the space. I also want them to score. It's not to play the space and have 3 goals. It's play the space, and if you can get 40 goals, brilliant, and you'll have the chance to do it. But it's knowing that at times whenever you got to come short to create space, or whether you've got to run in behind. So I think when you're playing against high pressing teams, you have to play a lot of forward passes, a lot of vertical balls, and knowing that it's not always going to be perfect, and also playing against man to man. So he can give you that reference point, and when he's big and strong and take the ball in, he can be unplayable. Dysan's slightly different. Dysan's a runner. He can take the ball into feet, set it and go, but he's more about the space. So both can play the position. I think it's the beauty of Dysan. He's very, very adaptable. And that's why I've always said that he's a winger, and I said he can play as a striker, you know. And that's where he's very adaptable, and we're very lucky because there's lots of strikers can't play in another position. He's just a really unique player where he can still score goals, he can still create goals playing in 2 different positions. But one's more a player that'll set the game up, use his power, allow the game and to come to him, and then players will run off him. Dysan, then you're looking to probably find more of the gaps in the space in behind. That would be the one of the differences.
We've heard a lot about Celtic this season in terms of, it must be boring, and we've heard another word that's sort of bandied about a lot, that it's easy. The perception is that for you as a manager this is easy, for Celtic it's easy. But when you look across the last 10, 15, 14 years or whatever it is, that there must be challenges with going again, because clubs not just in Scotland but elsewhere have won one league and then they go away again and you don't really see them. I just wonder, what are some of the challenges associated with going again that you've gone again this season?
Yeah, it's a great question, because obviously when you are in this run, this era that we're in terms of winning, then it can be deemed as that, or tedious, or all the words that are used, but it's absolutely not. Listen, I can tell you that, excuse me, from all the clubs I've ever been at, this is the biggest pressurised job I've been in, and that's because you cannot afford to lose a game of football. So you imagine any team that's out there, they'll get a pass for a draw, they'll get a pass for a win. Sometimes we don't even get a pass for a win. We can get wind and booed off. So that relentless nature, and that's what I love about the job. The expectation of the support base is to always be better, to always improve, and that drives you forward. So you can never just rest on your laurels here at Celtic. So that means that every single day of your life you have to be on it. You have to be really focused, you have to be prepared. You know that the other team you're playing against are going to give that extra 10-15% physically, mentally, because every time you operate as a Celtic player, a manager, you go in, you're managing a final scenario. So that there's virtually every game. And so to prepare the team, to prepare the trainings and the practice and the scheduling and everything else that goes with that, to deal with that pressure, to leave you in the best possible position when you play your game, then it's not straightforward. Yes, and you're absolutely right that there's lots of teams that have good resources in other leagues and throughout the world, but they don't necessarily win all the time. Yes, we've got really good resources here, but we haven't been handed money. This is all generated through a model of work in the club, by our supporters, buying merchandise. Everything is organic here at the football club. And then, of course, my job is to look after the core performance of the team. So, but it's definitely not. It's not easy. It's a highly pressurised situation of which you have to perform every single game. And in order to be at that level, then that's how you train. That mentality has to be in training. So when you have that every day, you have no rest days. And that's why you see players come here, some really good players, but they struggle. Because the mentality to survive within it, it's a real challenge. And players will be really good players. And not just even at Celtic. I've seen other players come up to Scotland before thinking, right, we'll come to Scotland. It's quite easy, and you play for one of the big teams, you'll be okay. No, the demands are totally different. And then you can leave and go back into the Premier League and actually do really well and be a good player in the Premier League. So what's the difference? The difference is pressure, dealing with pressure. And at Celtic, and Rangers for that matter, there's massive pressure.
See, because of all that, what you're saying, the demands, the pressure, do you allow yourself a moment after you crossed the finish line last week to celebrate and savour it? Do you get a chance to do that? How do you do that?
I do. I have to say, when I left Liverpool the first time to come here, I knew because of that job there and what I enjoyed of it, I knew my next job needed to be pressure. Otherwise, it will feel like a holiday. So coming to Celtic and then experiencing it like I did for the first time, it was absolutely no holiday. It's pressure. So dealing with that, and that's what I think I thrive in that situation. So then coming back to here, and especially how I came back that first 6 months, it wasn't all singing, all dancing. It was backs to the wall. You got to now show yourself here, and that's what I enjoy. So when the good moments come, of course, you enjoy it. You have to, or else if there's no finish line ever for you, when do you celebrate your success? So we had a nice couple of days last weekend, but very quickly you're turning to the next game and the next challenge. But hopefully the supporters, they'll have enjoyed it much more. So yeah, but you have to celebrate success. It's so important.
It sounds like you kind of need that pressure, thriving upon it.
I think I need that challenge, absolutely, especially this period in my career, and when I'm experienced now, and yeah, I can be no good if I'm comfortable, and I would never get to be that in here. But I think it's something that I thrive on. I enjoy that, and I enjoy the challenge. And last season it was clearly tighter, and there was lots of things being questioned of you and whatever else. So I enjoy that challenge of proving people wrong, and then there'll be always something else to improve or prove in the role. So if I don't have it, I find it from somewhere, and that's what allows me to be the best I can be.
And one of the things you guys have been very good at in these years of success is just whenever there's a narrative that Rangers are getting a bit of momentum, whether that's in the derby or just in general, it's just quelling that. Do you see this game as a kind of opportunity to just lay down that little psychological marker as well?
Yeah, I think what we've always done well is just focus on ourselves. Clearly, up here there's the two big teams, and they'll be the teams that'll be written about most. But I think all we can do is control ourselves, and control how we play and how we work, and the work that we do that can hopefully lead us to be a champion. And so that's something that I like to manage, that messaging with the players and that narrative around all of that. Because like I said, it's not our story. What's written and what people's headline is or what their themes are. People have to write, they have to report, they have to have podcasts, they've got to have shows on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think you don't do a Sunday, do you? You don't do Sunday.
Sunday this week.
Sunday this week. Oh, well, no, it won't be, will it? You do Sunday? Okay, there we go. So there's lots going on there, isn't there? But for us, we control ourselves. And so it's easily done.
Saw you bumped into Barry actually at the kids' game the other night. Can you review what was discussed? Or was it
just a handshake? I don't know Barry. I've never, apart from the game, I've never obviously come across him, and so yeah, we were obviously there to watch the kids play, and I bumped into him before the game. So, but listen, look, he's Barry's gone into that job, and I'm sure he's really privileged and honoured as a Rangers man and a former great player there and supporter. So he wants what's best for his club, and I'm pretty sure that him and Neil and the staff that are there will feel that they can take the club forward, and meet the challenges that are demanded by the club and the supporters. So, but I don't know Barry that well, but I will always be civil. And if someone's a manager of Rangers or a coach of Rangers, no one will tell me that I can't speak to him or shouldn't speak to him, because that's not the world. It's we might have different jobs on different sides of the clubs, but we will share a lot of the pressures, and that always deserves respect.
What's your thoughts, Brendan, on all the talk around a guard of honour on Sunday?
Get great topics up here. Absolutely. Listen, the guard of honour thing, it's not a rule. That's the first thing I would say. It's not in the rules that you have to do it. And I think that when two clubs and the rivalry is so emotional, it's always difficult for the team that comes up short. So it's one that I'm relaxed either way on it. It's one where I'm a little bit of a traditionalist, and where, because there's a lot of things that are going out of our game over in these isles that are just moving away from the traditions of the great managers and the great people that ran our game and were successful in our game. And I always think if you're a champion to show, or not a champion, showing that humility to the other team, whatever the rivalry is, or whatever, it's a mark of respect. But like I said, Celtic Rangers, it's an emotional rivalry. And if you're up short, and if you come up short quite a lot, then it can be a challenge for you and and to justify that with your supporters. But as I said, I'm a traditionalist. These are the things that have been in our game for many, many years, and like I say, there's no rule to it, but it's I'm relaxed either way on it, really.